Hi everyone, my name is Irie, and this is Reminisce with This, where I take a little time out of my day to sit with you and reminisce on all of my different hobbies and interests while telling a story with what revolves around these topics. It involves people, places, and things, and just the overall love and appreciation for the things that I collect, everything to something physical to the memories that I've collected over the years. And I really can't express how much fun I've been having with this and being able to dive into all of the different memories and times that I've been able to enjoy this journey and with the people and the places that I have been able to cultivate such an amazing so many different amazing avenues, honestly. And I have really been in such a state of awe having the family and friends that reach out and reminisce with me on their own journeys and their own memories with me, and just overall the amazing, beautiful stories that I get told. So if any of the times that I'm reminiscing with you with anything throughout my videos each week, leave a comment below and let's reminisce together on something that might be bringing to your forefront of a memory that you are reminiscing in this moment so we can enjoy it together. I really I can't say it enough, honestly, that I really just appreciate this moment in time, because even if there was only one person watching, the appreciation for all of the different people that have come into my life and all of the different memories that I've made have really been something to really reflect and appreciate at a deeper capacity and a deeper level than I've ever been able to before. And so that's why I created this channel, so I can reminisce on the positivity rather than focus on any negative aspect, because the world's already filled with so much negativity that being able to just sit and think positively, even for a couple minutes, really has been helping my everyday, and it's really just helped me change my perspectives on a lot of things. May not always be perfect, but at least that I have this moment each day to look forward to. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and say it is Shiny New Things Saturday, and of course with that it is going to be one of the new toys that I've had sitting waiting to be opened for quite some time, to crack in and talk about it and just, kind of be here for a moment. I'm kind of having a hard time deciding which one I want to open, so I'll probably go with the one that I've been most excited for. I know most people go for the least going up to the most, but for today's journey, I'm actually going to be looking forward to this specific figure, as it is a different variation, I should say a different variant for a certain comic grouping that I have been waiting patiently to add to my collection. So while I remove these from my table here, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the one that I am getting into today. I actually bought two of this specific one, as I have always wanted the diamond variant of Emma Frost. I remember the old school Marvel Legends Emma Frost that came out years and years ago, in my early Marvel Legend collecting days. It wasn't the best, but I was always hopeful that one day I would get that variant, and I never did. But once this figure came out, it was one of those times that it just really ignited those memories from when I first started collecting Marvel Legends, and how much fun it has been over the years to create all of the different stories and just overall having a great time, letting my imagination roam wild regarding these figures. And it's no different. I know there could be a lot of qualms with a specific figure, as I do have the one specific regular variant of hers where she's in her mutant form, but and it's not the best. It does have some hindering due to the cape, but overall I still am so excited to have this variant. So we're gonna go ahead and crack into it, and just really talk about all of the different things that could be coming to my mind in this memory time. And I'll take it back to the very first time I got my first Marvel Legend. As you guys know, from that comic book store, they gave me a lot of figures and things like that. So that's the first place I ever got my first Marvel Legend. And that was actually the old school Toy Biz Marvel Legends, I guess you could say. Not really a specific, but Toy Biz rather than the Hasbro. But the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Gambit and Rogue, those were the Gambit has always been one of my favorite characters, just in overall the years of growing up watching X-Men, and same with Rogue. The Rogue by no means was a perfect Rogue. It was kind of one of the worst versions of it, but I had so much fun playing with them as kids that I can't tell you how many storylines and how many battles and things like that did I cultivate with the two of those figures. As time went on, I started getting deeper into the Marvel Legend collecting. I would say I really got into the Marvel Legends simply around the time, I want to say I was probably like maybe 4th or 5th grade. That's when it started, but actually was able to find them out in the wild was probably, I want to say 6th grade. I started getting the Annihilation figures, which of course Emma Frost was a part of that Build-A-Figure wave. And I got a few figures from that. I can't really recall all of the ones that I had gotten at that time, as honestly, it was like one of the harder challenges to find them. I want to say I picked it up at Ross of all places too. Granted, I think that was the perfect place for that specific Emma Frost, as by no means was it a spectacular figure, but it did create a passion for myself for a very long time. Though I will undoubtedly admit that when I first came across Emma Frost, because of her name, I thought she had some kind of ice-like powers, and because they did show the different variant of her being in the diamond form, I thought she had some kind of ice-like power, so she was kind of my ice queen for a lot of the different figure battles and things like that I did. And it wasn't until later on that I found out that by no means did she have anything regarding mutant abilities with ice. And so, of course, that made it a little bit more comical for me as I actually got into the comics and I was like, oh, wow, I was so off base. But it was still one of those things that I really enjoyed, pretending that this figure had so many different capabilities rather than just the telekinetic, being a telepath, good grief, being a telepath there. So, it was one of those things that was crazy when I did find out who she was, which I want to say how I found out about her originally, and a deeper capacity was actually in Wolverine and the X-Men animated series, where Emma Frost was a part of that. That's how I got to know who she was, and I was like astounded because, again, there was so many shows and things like that I didn't necessarily know about until I would catch them at like a Hollywood Video or a Blockbuster, which, we know those aren't around anymore, so that's kind of dating myself here. But I would go in and I would rent all of these movies or whatever they had, which for the most part was only a few episodes, but that was enough to get me hooked. So that started my journey with getting to know who Emma Frost was, and I have had such an amazing experience getting into the X-Men universe and all of the different characters there are. I love Emma Frost. I think she is a sassy queen. I think she is one of the most snarky, like, she kind of reminds me in the best way of, like, Pam from True Blood. She gives me that very same characteristics, badass kind of just boss females that don't take crap from no one. And so, of course, here is Emma Frost out of the packaging here. You can kind of see her facial features a little bit, not to the best regard here. I will say that, like I said, the arm movements is hindered from the cape. It is a pliable cape. It is a little bit, but nowhere near where like the old Toy Biz figures were, where they were cloth. And of course that would be cool to have, but at the same time, I'm still happy to have this figure in hand. That does leave a little hindering of exactly what kind of posability she will be able to do. Of course, her legs will move up about that far, and then about that far back. Now, she does have alternate heads. She doesn't have necessarily an ab crunch, so you can't really get her into too much. She has a very minimal ab crunch, like very, very minimal. You know, she has the double jointed elbows and double jointed knees. So it does suck, though, again, that you can't really utilize a whole lot of her double jointed elbows or her arms due to the cape. She does have these heels. They can be a little bit of a problem standing up. Like I said, I do have the other variant, which I will share her momentarily, but her ankles do have this little swivel here, which of course, again, it does leave a little room for some good dynamic poses. Again, as well, because she is a figure that is on heels, it can be hard to keep them up. She is one of those figures for me that falls down often and like consistently, and then once she falls down, she domino affects the others. I will say for the other variant that I did purchase, I bought about 4 of her as I just fell in love with the Marvel Ultimate Fight game, and in one of the attacks that she is as part of the Phoenix 5, she has this power where she splits off into about 4 or 5 of her, and they all do a power attack. So I copped about 4 of them while they went on sale for like $7 at Target. So, you know, there is that. I will say that this alternate head is going to be the same one for an older variation of Emma Frost, which, let me go ahead and focus there, but it is the one from the Walgreens exclusive, which I was lucky enough to pick that up when that did drop a few years ago. I want to say, shoot, it was like 7 years ago or something like that. Maybe a little less than 7 years, but still long enough. So, of course, I'm not unfamiliar with this head sculpt. I will probably have one of the other on. I've yet to decide which one I want to have be on the shelf. Where, you know, should I have the one that is going to be the variant same one, so it kind of looks like, in a way, when I put her behind that figure, it kind of shows in a way, like, from my imagination standpoint, that it's kind of like a blurred vision of the same person, but you just kind of, you know, and sometimes comic panels you'll see, you know, a kind of them presently while in, like, them right next to each other, like themselves, but it's kind of blurred. So I was figuring something like that. She does come with the another set of hands right? So it's the same hands that we saw in the Jean Grey figure, very similar, honestly. This is kind of what they give the female figures a lot of the times. There's those those specific hands. On the regular figure here, she does have a fist, and then on the other one, she kind of has a hand for grabbing items, which pertains to what she comes with, which of course is going to be the Danger Room program manual right here. Let me go ahead and see if I can get that to focus. There we go. So there is that there. And then of course she does come with the mutant pathogen research folder, and of course that has Xavier's school on it. Now of course I will probably have her holding these at some point. I'm still, like I said, trying to figure out if I will have her holding them or exactly how I'm gonna have her posed. So with that, let me go ahead and grab one of the variants that I have of her. I'm not going to pull it from the main shelf as I don't want to knock all of these down. I pulled it from one of the shelves that I have a lot of my duplicate figures. So of course, this is what Emma Frost looked like in the current mutant form, where she's out of the diamond form, which you can see a little bit more of the facial features there, which is no different from this. Now, it does seem as if on the diamond form, her facial structure is slightly different from the one here. It could just be the fact that there's not really any makeup. Actually, there's none, besides kind of just like the eyebrows there. The only color that you see there are going to be her eyes, which they do have a little bit of the eyelashes, and then of course her eyebrows. But for the most part, they're pretty much the same figure. I do see on the belt buckle though, the one for this one here, as you can see, that is a lighter gold, right? And then this one seems to kind of be a slightly darker gold, just slightly, in a way that it kind of gives like a bronze-ish coloration for it. So there are slight differences there. The other Emma Frost figure that I have here, it's a little dusty, as you know, it's hard to maintain dusting all of these figures so consistently. But for the most part, I like it. I dig the figure. I think that it's going to be a great addition to my collection. I will be placing her over here with the others from that main comic line. It's totally, I'm spacing on the comic at the moment, but I still have yet to get the Beast from that comic and the Colossus and Kitty. I want to say it's Ultimate X-Men maybe. I could be wrong, I could be mistaken, but if you remember, go ahead and leave me a comment below on exactly which one that will be. Now, like I said, I will have her posted here and behind that Emma Frost figure that I already have there, in a probably somewhat kind of, like I said, just kind of standing off to the side of her, not in something super dynamic, but just in a pose that she will be placed there. So that's pretty much it for today for opening something new, and it kind of goes hand in hand for Shiny New Things Saturday, as she is quite the shiny character, being in diamond form, and I am so happy to add her to my collection. Though at some point, if you would like to see all of the different variations of Emma Frost that I have, go ahead and also leave a comment below, and I will go ahead and pull out what I have, as I have quite a few of them, and that does include the clones of Emma Frost. And if you know, you know. So with that being said though, I want to thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me and reminiscing a little bit. It wasn't too much of a huge story time, but just kind of where I got the funny story of how I thought Emma Frost was a mutant with frost-like powers, only to find out that she wasn't, and how I got that first dinky Toy Biz Marvel Legends, I want to say maybe Toy Biz, or just overall the first iteration of the Marvel Legends, which If only you knew how far they've come since then if you have never collected a Marvel Legend. I no longer have that figure, but that's okay. I do have a lot of the variations that they have today, and I would be happy to share them with you at some point if you would like to see them. With that being said, though, I just want to end this by saying something that really has stuck with me along the recovery journey. I have a friend who always ends just in such a positive note by saying something similar to this, and it really does make me appreciate people in my life and the way that they leave a presence in others. So I have started to take the initiative to say the same. If you haven't been told today that you are loved, cherished, and cared about, just know that I love and I cherish and I care about you. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will catch you on the next one. Until then, you have a wonderful day. All right, peace.